You can now support the Terrible Warriors by visiting patreon.com/terriblewarriors. Today on the Terrible Warriors, Derek the Bard brings together two of his players to the table for a game in the Old West. Ha! But don't worry, it's a Derek the Bard game, so you can be guaranteed there's going to be conspiracies in the occult worked in somehow. Grab your whiskey and a can of beans as we tell you a tale of the adventures of change and stone. And these roughneck gunslingers, they are your Terrible Warriors.
Hey, Terrible listeners. It's Derek the Bard from the Edmonton crew. We are back again. However, you will note that this month we are not running Suicide Squad, which we promised. Unfortunately, there was a tragedy in our group. Shane Fitzgerald's mother, Margaret, passed away a week ago, and he obviously has to go back to Cape Breton to spend time with his family. And our most profound and heartfelt condolences go out to Shane and his entire family. And he asked that this episode be dedicated to the memory of his mother, Margaret, who was very supportive of this podcast and his involvement in it. So that is why we are running a different game today. Today we are running Deadlands, the Weird West. And joining me on this frontier adventure are only two Terrible Warriors. It's a first. This is the smallest gaming group we've ever done on this show before. So let's take it from the left.
Will Mitchell.
And Wes Gunn with the 404s.
And we are running Deadlands. So, getting into it, our two intrepid adventurers, our posse of two, if you will, picked which character archetypes they were going to play. And let's start with Will.
I'm playing Wade Stone, Gunslinger.
And I'm playing Jonathan Change, the Man in Black.
Ooh. Now, we've got two little things to do before we fully get into playing this game. First, our players are going to roll for their mysterious backgrounds, which you don't technically have to do in Deadlands. It only comes up if you draw... character creation in the system is done by drawing cards. And if you draw a Joker, you get a mysterious past. However, because they're using pre-generated archetypes, and we just love randomly generating character backstory on this show, I'm going to give it to them anyway. So, gentlemen, you have your deck of cards, which you have shuffled. Will draw from the deck.
Okay. Here we go. Heart of the cards. Jack of Spades.
All right, then. Let's see what you get. Jack. Haunted. The character is haunted by a malevolent ghost. It appears at the most inconvenient times to frighten and confuse the hero. At least once per adventure, the ghost appears and tries to trick, confuse, or distract him. Well, that's going to be interesting for you.
Exactly what that is.
You killed a man in the past, and he don't like you much.
I have a slightly different idea, if I may propose it.
Sure?
I have another man's bullet in me.
Okay.
I'm thinking that during some sort of uprising, or maybe some sort of vigilante action, some local bush shaman cooked up a bullet with, like, a sacrificed guy in it, meant to kill somebody else, and I got in the way of it, and it's still lodged in me.
Okay.
I've got another man's death warrant, and he can't rest until he's in that person.
Interesting. All right, let's play with that. Wes.
Big money, big money, big money. A queen.
Ooh, but it's a black
spades,
queen.
Dude.
Yeah.
Queen, animal hatred. Black queen, animals hate the character. Dogs always growl and sometimes bite. Horses complain constantly and buck whenever the character goes bust on a horse riding roll. You always suffer -2 to animal wrangling, teamster, or horse riding rolls.
That's okay. I'm the Man in Black. People are afraid of me.
Yeah.
It ain't easy for a man in black.
Apparently not.
Also, I can't apparently write on this sheet, which incidentally, if you subscribe to our Patreon, which you can check out at patreon.com/terriblewarriors, you will get to see my GM notes, which I'm writing on constantly now. We're going with a little bit of a different way of doing this game because we only have 2 players. Deadlands is an old setting, and we're also doing this game, specifically Deadlands, to celebrate the successful Kickstarter that Deadlands just had for its 20th birthday. And it is a Wild West game that mixes themes similar to Briscoe County, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., with stuff like Supernatural, and in this case, The X-Files. Because our two heroes work for they work for the Pinkerton Detective Agency, which the United States government has hired, in this particular continuity, to deal with the strange and the unexplained. And because we only have two of them, we're going to do it like it's a TV show. Specifically, this is episode 12 of The Adventures of Change and Stone. What they do in the next 4 hours will determine whether or not it's their season finale or if it's their mid-season episode where everything really picks up. Mm-hmm. To begin, however, we're going to start with role-playing a little montage, as at the start of a long-running TV show like Supernatural, where, they strike up the Western music. And previously on The Adventures of Change and Stone, we're going to start with our two characters are sitting in an office, and across from them is the director of the Pinkerton Agency, who in this case we're going to call Director William Lawrence. And he's dressed in his very finest 1876 North well-to-do man suit. And it's a well-appointed office. There's the flag of the recently reconstituted United States of America following the Civil War. So the two of you are sitting across from Director Lawrence, and I'd like to describe your characters to start off.
Okay. Wade Stone is listening, in a manner of speaking. When the camera sort of pans through the plate window with the nice embossed gold telling us whose office it is and where we are, it pans sort of through them, showing Director Lawrence leaning on his desk, looking fairly mad in his fine suit. He's sort of the sort of man who has a perpetual scowl on his face. And we see in silhouette our two characters. Wade Stone is on the left, and his chair is sort of sitting at a bit of an angle. He's not directly pointing towards the director as he speaks. And in fact, he's sort of leaned back in his chair, contemplating the ceiling a little bit, the fine copper plating up there. He's got...
You got your feet kicked up on the desk?
He's got one boot up on the corner of the desk, and then the other one across that. And he's got sort of a 1,000-yard stare as he looks up at that ceiling. On his head, there is just a disgrace of a hat. It, at one point, had been a Union cavalry hat, and it has been through every mud puddle and pool of horse piss in the entire Confederated, like the whole, everywhere. Anywhere that there's been trouble, this hat's been, and it's been trod upon.
So it's not so much blue now as more sort of black, really?
It's a motley collection of blacks and grays and browns. And so it's sitting pretty high back on his head. You can see underneath he has a fairly high hairline that he's got slicked back with some sort of pomade. As the hat's perched atop him. And as he's looking up, this affords the audience a chance to see that he's got a hangman's scar around his neck.
Oh.
He's got a sort of a loose bandana around what would serve as a collar. Nice dark vest that at one point maybe had adorned a better man than him, which he has now acquired. Sort of loose shirt rolled up to the sleeves. And you can see a variety of sort of scars and things across his forearms. And then as he sort of reaches into one of his waistcoat pockets and pulls out a fine cigarello and fumbles down to his pocket to grab a lucifer to light it, you see, of course, the shining six gun on his hip.
The most immaculately kept piece of his person, obviously.
Absolutely. Everything else on him is sort of hand-me-down bullshit, but that fucking gun is as if it came right off the store.
And it's, of course, a cult peacemaker.
Of course.
Because everything is a cult peacemaker in this setting.
Absolutely.
So, in contrast to his rough-and-tumble guy, my character, Jonathan Change, is very finely dressed. But alternatively, he's also got his legs kicked up on the table, but opposite from him. Like we're leaning kind of towards each other, right? I have a big cigar, and I've gotten some of the boss's good bourbon out. The hat is a little bit, not like a 5-gallon hat, but kind of more of a Mexican kind of style design. He looks like somebody who may have been at one point maybe like he either lived in Texas or he's like a Texas settler or stuff like that.
So you got like the bolo tie and
yeah, exactly. All black. Boots don't look like they've ever seen an ounce of shit on them at all.
Well, I mean, you're a tin horn. You come from up north. You've got those fine, big speaking ways.
That's right. But it's obvious he's been down south, so he knows what it's like.
Yeah.
He's very adept at blending in, and he's got like that kind of like if you've ever seen John Wayne give like that half smirk in like his old westerns, like that, like the cat, like he's got the cat by the tail, but you don't know why, right? Like
yeah. And you've kind of got that knowing smirk between you guys. Like, you've got a history together, probably before this show even started.
Yeah, somewhere there's a cinematographer who's just smiling and nodding to himself as the characters lean together, showing their dependency on each other in the visual patois of the intro.
Yeah. And so Director Lawrence has his hands on the desk. He says, "Gentlemen, we are facing a crisis right now. Ever since they found that damn ghost rock," and listeners, in Deadlands, the main difference in the setting that regular people notice is ghost rock, which they found out west, and it burns like coal, but it burns with more power. You put ghost rock in a steam engine, and you got your steam locomotive going at speeds that were just impossible before. They had to build new steam locomotives just to run on ghost rock, because it was tearing the old ones apart. Except that it emits a weird white smoke instead of black, and when you burn it, it sounds like the screams of the damned. And it is the new gold rush. It is the biggest thing out there. And he says, ever since they found ghost rock out west, and especially down south, we have had nothing but trouble. There are strange happenings going on all over the place. And at this point, we're going to cut to a different clip from another episode as we montage through things that they've been through in the past. So I'm going to throw to Will to begin that scene, and then I'm going to run it for you guys.
Okay. So our first Weird Happenings montage cut goes to a Mexican standoff between Jonathan Chase, what looks to be like some sort of like saloon proprietress in all of her sort of grand finery with like dual Dillingers, one pointed at Jonathan Chase, one pointed at Wade Stone.
Change.
Change. Damn it.
You're going to get it wrong now, too.
Yeah.
By the end of this thing, I'm changing it to change, right? Chase, I think.
I mean, that might turn out to be a thing in the show. And then, of course, Wade Stone then pointing his peacemaker at a guy on the ground who is then pointing dual guns at both of the protagonists. They're sort of giving each other the stereotypical sort of glancing around, and then they all look over their shoulder and see that the town has surrounded them, and they're obviously some sort of like Children of the Corn cult, where there's like a preacher who's like completely albino, sort of standing up high with like some sort of book that ain't a Bible, and they're all surrounding them, and so they all look over their shoulder and look back.
Okay, and that's where we're going to start this. Incidentally, that's going to be a point of your character now, Wes. You were constantly having to correct people on your name because they don't believe you're actually named Change. So you got a preacher standing up. He's waving this dark book. He's like, "My children, the dark gospel says that these heathens will not stand. They cannot be allowed to sully the holy land of our good town."
Are we in Utah? What the hell's going on?
You are in Utah. Oh, this and it pans across all of these people, and they've got this totally glazed look in their eyes. You could tell that nobody's home right now.
Serena, I understand we got problems, and
I swear to God, I'll tip you later.
Mr. Strix, I got a bullet in this here chamber for you, but I believe we got our dance card filled up by somebody else right now.
And Mr. Strix looks up at you, and he's got his gun pointed at you, but his other hand is making like he's shuffling cards with it almost. And he's like, "You know what? I reckon you were right. This is not the time or the place. So you know what? You let me go, and I say we bust on out of here." And Mrs. Serena's like, "Boys, I do not think that we have time to sit and bicker. Well, Reverend Crazy Pants over there is about to sacrifice us all to the devil."
I do believe the lady is right.
Yep.
And you can't, listeners, you can't see at home, but we literally are all pointing our finger guns at each other like we're in a Mexican standoff right now, including Will and Wes pointing them at each other, even though they're on the same side.
What, I'm a LARPer. I just came from a LARP event. Cut me some slack, okay?
Yeah. So what do you do?
Mr. Strix, draw, indicating his cards, and then turns and begins shooting.
So as you guys open fire, we're going to start this as the first rolls of the game, where you're going to draw for your initiative. So shuffle the first 2 cards you drew back in, and I will draw for the NPCs. So what you're going to do first is you are going to roll your... Where are the easy rules I gave you? It'll tell you. But it's a quickness check.
Yep.
So roll your quickness dice. Oh crap! We forgot to draw your fate point. Your fate checks.
Oh, no.
So Wes, you draw first. Just tell us what you got. There are 3 colors.
I
Draw 3.
I got a blue.
Oh, that's good. Blues are good. Only 10 blues in this bag.
White.
There are 50 whites in this bag.
And I got a white.
Okay, well that's pretty standard.
All right.
All right. So you boys are going to roll your quickness against a difficulty of 5.
All right, and I'm pulling out, how many again? 3?
3 chips. Yeah.
3 chips, okay. I got a white, I got a red, and I got a red.
Ooh, reds are complications, but they will give you the same effect as a blue. But every time you do that, I get to draw a fate chip for the NPCs.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So you boys are gonna roll your quickness. What's your quickness say on there?
46.
4D. Jesus. Okay, roll. You're gonna take the highest number. If you roll a 6, it explodes.
Okay.
11. That's 5 over, so you get a raise.
Okay.
If you get a success, you draw 1 card. If you get a raise, you draw another card.
Okay.
And then you draw a base card for doing the roll in the first place. So you draw 3 cards, Wes.
Okay. Do I just show them to anybody, or?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
less important. You drew well. He drew a 6, a 7, and an 8.
Nice.
Will?
All right, so Wade's got 2d12 for quickness, and I rolled just garbage.
You rolled an 8.
I got an 8.
Okay, so that's only going to get you 2 cards. 1 for success, 1 for...
Beating it.
Yep.
And I got an 8 and a 9.
Okay, and we're going to roll for the Children of the Corn. And just for our NPCs in general.
Jeebus.
Okay, that's 10, so they are going to get... They're 3, which is largely going to cover the group of NPCs, and then we're going to roll for our 2 other NPCs, who rolled shit, but Mr. Strix is going to go first anyway.
Yay.
Okie dokie. I'm actually using my Malifaux cards because I
Have Malifaux cards.
Well, I play Malifaux.
Yeah.
I love Malifaux. Oh, you boys. That's not so good.
Oh, lordy.
Yeah, the Malifaux cards don't actually include like Jack's kings and queens on them, but I'm just gonna let you know the bad guy NPCs drew a queen.
Yay.
So what we do is
Swarmed.
this is how we set up order of actions. You play whichever card you want, so they're going to play their queen. They're going to go first. Then you guys decide between yourselves which cards you want to play to determine what order you go in. You both got 8s?
Yeah.
And I got a 9.
Oh, you got a 9? You want to go, Will, with your sharpshooting?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do some sharpshooting and knock that.
Okay, so play that 9.
Yep.
I'm going to play my 6 because I'm too busy staring at the prostitute's cleavage.
Oh, God. All right. And... Oh, yeah. He got...
Serena's a map.
Yeah.
Well... And Mr. Strix got a 9, so he's going to go just after... And the prostitute, the madam, are going to go just after. So that's what we got there. We'll make a discard pile in front of the thingy right there. Alrighty then. So, bad guy's going to go first. The Children of the Corn are going to advance. And Creepy Dude is going to try and do something creepy. Where's the D10?
Those D12s.
Let's see if he can get off his something creepy. He gets off his something creepy. He slams his book about, and there is thunder and lightning in the air. And you already had clouds over top, and they start raining. Mm-hmm. But as the rain hits the ground, it starts to sizzle. He has literally summoned up a rain of fire and brimstone.
Oh, amazing.
And his creepy cultists kind of walk forward, and the rain hits them, and they're starting to smoke.
Unaffected, of course.
Yeah, and then Mr. Strix is going to go, and he does something funky. I'm not going to roll for the NPCs, because it's largely about you guys.
Yeah.
Phantom illusionary playing cards appear in his hand, and he makes a gesture and flings one of them, and it makes it and it explodes in the middle of the zombie cultists and starts flinging them about, creating a little bit of chaos, which is an opening. Madame Serena says, basically, I got a back door out that way. It leads to the old mine shafts under town. And then putting you guys in potentially a rearguard action.
Great.
So, Will, you can open fire?
Absolutely.
Okay, who do you want to shoot?
I want to shoot Reverend Creepy Pants.
Reverend Creepy Pants it is. So we're doing one mod on the rules. Is normally you'd roll just your aptitude with your trait dice, but we're gonna add those together just to give you guys a nice big dice pool to be proud of.
Nice. So my deafness is 3d10.
Okay, I got another D10 right there, and then your pistols I think is a 3.
And so that's another 3d10.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So you're just gonna.
I'll just roll 2 of these suckers twice.
Yeah, unless you get a 10.
Yeah, well then there'll be much rolling. All right.
You got anything good? Then roll 2 more.
I got a 7 and a 6 as my highest. I'll keep those guys for reference. Roll the 2 more, so keep the highest, right?
Yep.
So I got a 7.
Okay, we'll take that 7. That you just want to hit him just center mass. You will not be able to hit him in the head. You'll take a penalty on the roll that'll cause you to miss. But...
Fair enough. And since we're still sussing out exactly what the parental guidance rating of the show is, how overt the violence is yet to be discovered.
Just for dramatic effect, give me a d20 roll, and we'll see where you hit him.
And the ratings say I got a 13.
Let's check the damage chart. It means you're going to wing him in an arm.
Yeah. So, I'm going to shoot the Bible out of his hand.
I'll take that. Give me roll 3d6. See how much damage you deal him. Roll at and add them together. Cocked. I'll give you that as a reroll.
There we go.
9 damage.
Awesome. 9 damage. Yep.
It's pretty. Yeah, you blow the Bible out of his hand. And that's going to start to fizzle the rain a little bit, so buys you a little bit of time.
Nice. Get out of here, you two! Wade's going to shout to Miss Serena and Strix.
Yep. And they start getting Wes.
I'm going with them, yelling the whole way, fuck, 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 fuck.
Okay, we've apparently established at least the basic parental level of this show.
That's probably on HBO.
It's almost definitely on HBO.
Cool.
Okay, and then we're going to cut that piece of the montage. We're going to go back. You, Wes, are going to establish your piece of things now.
Okay, so my kind of thing is playing up with with Serena. I think she's a reoccurring role,
cool.
Right? And when we first met her, she wasn't a madam. She was a prostitute, and she was in a whorehouse ran by an Aztec vampire, like a la
From Dusk Till Dawn. Okay.
Yeah, like the this era equivalent of the titty twister.
Well, you know what? Maybe since we're kind of moving along through the episodes, maybe at that point what she actually is she's sort of running it for the vampire.
Yeah.
Is like she's taken up with a new boss after Reverend Creepy Pants ran out of town.
Yeah.
With his Creepy Pants cult. And
now we've ran into her again.
Okay, so what's the scene you want to set for this specific little piece?
He's probably at the bar drinking.
Yeah,
he's at the bar drinking. He knows I'm upstairs with Serena again, spending what little money I have again, right? And the vampire is called together everybody around there and is doing like the creepy kind of like, line up and give me your blood.
What the hell is it with you guys and creepy cults in this show? It's like that's a thing on your TV tropes page. Just creepy cult at least once every episode or two.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and that's just part of the thing.
And, the whole isolation of the frontier. These towns get, each one's its own weird insular little culture.
So, and he's sitting there, doing, the drink thing.
Yeah.
And Serena's trying to rush me out so I don't get drained dry. So I run out, half buck naked and go, oh.
Okay. Will, where's your character in this, or is it just going to be a West scene?
I think Wade's at the bar and he's stopped with his whiskey almost at his lips, and he's looking at Change's reflection in the mirror behind the bar.
Oh no! So you actually also see you got the creepy vampire cult guy
and so he just sees,
sitting on the stage. Yeah, just the cup.
Move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've just burst into a room of creepy vampire cult.
Naked, and he's having a drink at the bar.
Yeah, well, it's naked, but you're gonna have your Gatling pistol with you. And Wes's character actually has this really funky, what is for the time like super science Gatling pistol, and it looks just like a miniature Gatling gun.
Oh god, that's cool.
It's almost like a silver painted Nerf gun. You got a crazy steampunk weapon.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's been given to you by the Pinkertons, because that's apparently the one edge that is on this archetype.
Cool.
And yeah, he's the vampire is just going on. It's as he's got this whole enthralled crowd who are literally just kind of lounging around the stage. Many of them are dead at this point, or they're like slumped over because he's drained their blood into this chalice. And it's my children of the night. I'm doing immediately jumping into a Dracula accent. I'm not even going to try and do a Mexican accent. It's my children of the night. I thank you for your sacrament this evening, and though some of you will not survive, know that you have brought me back from the sleep of ages. And what are you guys going to do about this dude?
I think Wade at this point is pretty drunk.
That's why you're not under the vampire's thrall.
That's why he's not under the vampire's
You are
thrall.
like 6 whiskeys into this.
Yeah, he's super shitter.
If he's 6 whiskeys in, I've got to be at least 8, because I probably got right bliss with Serena before that.
No, that's the thing, is you were totally sober going into that, because you've been up with Serena the whole time.
Oh, yeah, I guess a little
You
bit.
haven't had a chance to get drunk.
Yeah. Okay. So
So you can kind of feel the mesmerism of this guy on stage. He doesn't look Mexican. He looks Azteca.
Okay.
So he is so he's not of Spanish descent.
Right.
So he has much darker skin, much blockier features. He's probably got some huge like jade earring in. Maybe even like a bit of tattooing up his face.
Stone head. Help.
Change, this here medicine show's taking a turn.
Now, do you want to do something, or do you want us to jump away from this flashback into another one?
I think that's probably okay,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, we're good there.
I think that's good. That's
Okay,
that's
let's take it. All right, so we're going to cut into a piece of the montage that I'll lead into. Is I'm going to give you guys a classic Deadlands creature that you are actually running the hell away from.
Nice.
It's you guys. You're running through a forest at night. There's a full moon, and at first the clip doesn't show what you're running away from. Then it shows the ground behind you is like humped up.
Oh, yes!
And suddenly this creature rears out of it, and it looks almost exactly like a graboid from Tremors. And this is what's called a Mojave Rattler.
Nice.
And it is like one of the signature monsters of the game. It's right there in the core book.
Cool. So, like, we're running, the ground shows up, and then, like, the camera pans back from, like, a close-up on our faces. And we see that Miss Serena is ahead of us. She's got Wade's hat and changes waistcoat and overcoat. We're both in dresses, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the comedy cut.
And it cuts behind you, but we're going to cut away from the comedy for a second, as it shows Mr. Strix is running behind you guys, and he's huffing and puffing, because Mr. Strix is, he's in like his late 40s. He's a little bit overweight. He's kind of shorter than you guys. He's an Old West wizard, and this thing jumps up, grabs him, and drags him back under the ground.
I would lean over my shoulder and go, oh, I didn't like the hand he was dealt.
Nice.
All right, let's throw to Will. This is now going to be like the best part of this game, where we're just throwing this opening montage around.
I'm digging this. Okay, so that sort of establishes a lot of the recurring characters. The next cut after Strix.
Oh, actually, sorry. I'm going to throw in one more from me so that we can now establish the main bad guy of all this. Is that it's got you? You're both sitting in a saloon, and up on one. This is like a top end, like New York City saloon, and up on like the third level up, sitting at a table, is a bunch of men in really, really fine suits, but they're all sitting a little bit away from one man at the head of the table, and he has an impeccably groomed mustache, no beard. His head is completely shaved and like waxed. He's wearing a very fine suit with a very, very distinctive symbol on his cravat. It's this pin. It's just got sticks forming this weird, you recognize it like a modern, like a culty looking diagram.
The sort of thing that nowadays you buy on Hot Topic.
Exactly. But, his is made of silver.
It's the real deal.
It's got like a diamond in the center of it. And Miss Serena, who is somehow tending bar in this situation. I think at this point we've established you're not even sure what the hell this woman really does.
No, she's a living enigma. She's maybe Secret Service or something, or
just whenever we were sent to investigate something, somehow this woman ends up in the middle of it.
Yeah,
and we're like, you again, and she's kind of like got this like.
Yeah, and she's tending bar, and you two are sitting there. You are incongruously dressed in good suits that you don't look comfortable in.
Nice.
I look very comfortable in.
And she kind of gestures to the man. That up there, that's Harlan Bliss. He's the one you're looking for.
Not just me. And then Ghost shimmers beside me.
Oh yeah, we're gonna establish the Ghost in your next flashback, I think. Wes, you got a thing to add to this scene?
Not really. I just kind of like, for the first time, I don't smile.
You look very serious.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
And now we're going to start moving into some more serious topics. You guys have, like, the show kind of started off on that fairly light, kind of Weird West note where you're having your monster of the week moments, and then we're getting to the point like 4 or 5 episodes in where that A bus starts coming down, and so
we're in the end of the Neo Genesis Evangelion thing where it gets like really dark and really sinister, but less weird.
Yeah, we're talking like Supernatural waited a couple episodes before they introduced the demon with yellow eyes, and so we're gonna throw to Will,
and so. It cuts from us in the high-end New York saloon to now we are out in the desert. And we are sort of obviously battered and busted up. We've been staked down to the ground in the sun. There's buzzards overhead.
Nice.
The sun is briefly sort of obscured in Stone's vision as sort of the translucent figure of the spirit that haunts him sort of leans down and says, "If you'd have let me do my work, you wouldn't be here." And Stone just kind of coughs. "This is Bliss's work." And then he looks over and sees Change is also staked out, but his horse is also, laying on him. It's unclear if the horse is dead or alive, but, he's not just staked out, but he's, pinned and injured.
Yeah, and the camera will pull back on you guys, and then, Wes, you'll get to add your bit to this.
Yeah.
As you're actually in... It's been, this ritual circle drawn in the sand of the desert, set out with stones, and you guys are placed around a cairn of skulls.
Yeah.
I'm kind of imagining that, in the distance, you can see, a burning building or something, like it's on a homestead or something.
Well,
yeah.
You know what? No, you see that, and behind that is a railway, and there's a train going away from you guys.
Yeah, and I'm still conscious, but I'm really badly hurt, and I'm, trying to claw towards, and I'm just yelling, Sarah! Sarah! Some sort of family member or something like that lived in that house, right?
This is someone important to you that suddenly we've established.
Yeah.
Bliss is taken from you.
Yeah.
I'm making sure to write down important NPC names that that may eventually come up in this game. All right. How are you guys going to get out of this?
That's a great question. How are we going to get out of this?
I actually have a really cool idea if I'm going to pitch it to you.
Please do it.
I have an enemy, the Texas Rangers, on this character sheet. The Texas Rangers come to get me.
The cavalry literally comes for you, but it's not in a good way.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. And then it cuts to a little bit in the future, and you guys are almost out of it. And you see and you open your eyes, and it's bleary, and there's a Texas Ranger standing over you. This is Jonathan Change. Oh, Jonathan Chase, and then you're like caught
Change.
by the authority invested in me by the I think it's the state of Texas or the Republic of Texas or something like that.
It would be the Texas territory at this point.
Actually, let's check the map.
It'll tell us for sure.
The book has a map.
It's the map. It's the map. It's the map.
The map hears all and knows all. It is the state of Texas.
Oh, okay, that's fair. There was a point where before it achieved statehood that they were the Texas territory.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it might have been short-lived.
Yeah. By the state of Texas, I am placing you under arrest. And then we're going to throw to you for another flashback. I'm going to imagine this is you two now in jail or something.
Yeah, I imagine, like, I'm in jail. Like, they didn't bother to patch me up because, like, in this era, like, it's not like it is now. I mean, not to say that the U.S. prison system's great, but, you know...
They at least make an effort.
Yeah, right. So I'm, like, broken ribs, broken arm, obviously bleeding, right? And you're like, I'm kind of imagining, like, sorry. You know, like...
I've seen worse.
I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna kill that man that killed Sarah.
Yeah.
Right after I can get someone to pull this rib out of my lung.
So you guys are in a cell at this point, and
your typical dingy, dirty
Yeah.
Texas cell.
Yeah, and one of the rangers comes along. He's like, "Gentlemen, someone here to see you." And in walks Harlan Bliss, and the suit is still immaculate. The head is still like perfectly waxed.
Yeah.
And he just looks healthy. Boys, you have been a pain in my side, and it would do me a great pleasure to just have you die like you were supposed to. Any responses from you guys?
Because I know I pick up a handful of shit. Because literally in these rooms, people...
Yeah, just above.
Yeah. I wing it at him with my good arm.
Give me a roll.
I've used the blue chip.
You don't want to use your blue chip for this.
Okay.
Not for the...
Probably we're going to say it's going to be just your straight up deafness.
Okay, so I have 3d8s.
So you got 3d8.
Oh, perfect.
8. It explodes.
8 and a 7.
Nice.
15. He ain't going to dodge that.
But will shit stick to Harlan Bliss?
Let's find out. Let's see here. As I search around the table for dice. That's a 10. Oh, he only got an 11.
Oh, that was close.
That was good.
So, yeah, you get him. You don't get him in the face because he rolled fairly well on his end as well. But you get it right in the middle. And he stops mid-sentence, and he looks at you. And the camera focuses on him as he blinks. And it's like he's blinking away almost an illusion, because when you look at his eyes are just pits. Mm-hmm. And he looks at you, and his face kind of contracts a little bit. As whatever kind of, like, almost mask he's got going just shudders just an instant. And you see that his face is pale. There's a wrinkled quality to it. His nose is kind of sunken back in his skull. Nice. And it's like one of those like quick lighting shifts where even with the audience, you only see it for like a second and a half. And people are posting like slow down frame by frame breakdowns like the next day online.
Yeah.
Oh boy. When I get my hands on you when next we meet, I'm gonna kill you all kinds of dead.
Why don't you go talk to the good state of Texas about that?
You of all people ain't gonna stand here and lecture us about the way you're supposed to die. Wade says, as, the ghost is sort of, like, angrily freaking out in silence that only Wade can hear at Harlan Bliss.
Yeah.
I want my lawyer. And he's going to reach into his waistcoat and pull out a card that says, Mr. Strix, and determine out.
Oh, apparently he's not dead now.
Well, we're several episodes later.
Yeah.
We can't supernaturally come back all the time.
Exactly. We can't show every daring rescue in the intro.
So we are actually going to show this daring rescue before we cut into the game itself, because we've thrown to you, so we're going to throw back to me. I'm going to finish this guy off. And what you actually get in that last clip is Mr. Strix, who suddenly looks like he looks really vital for a man that you saw get eaten by essentially a graboid.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, he probably sells literal snake oil, and actual literal snake oil really wasn't muscle relaxant.
Well, and he's got a pair of phantom cards in his hand, and there's like this huge special effects duel between him and Mr. Bliss, who is tapping on the side of his leg with a carved shin bone, and is chanting in like Creole or something. And there's just like this light show, and Strix basically like looks over his shoulder and he's like, "You boys better get." And then it cuts to you two running away from the prison as the prison explodes.
And then we jump because Kugel doesn't look back.
And then we're going to cut to this episode, which sees the two of you. You're in Washington, D.C. You are in whatever is your standard watering hole. We need a good name for it.
Ooh.
And so this is remember.
Like, whenever you guys are set in a set piece in Washington, half the time they're just set of you guys in this bar. This is like your talking points bar kind of thing.
That kind of cool idea. We could do something like the Stonecutter Bar, make it like it's like a bar that was like attached to like the Freemason movement or something.
Possibly.
Because there's all that rumors.
A lot of that about the building of Washington.
Right? Like,
another possibility is we could be a Netflix show, and this could be like Underwood's gambling den or something. Good name for it.
I'm throwing it to you guys to give us some creative entertainment here.
Because it's in Washington, it's not going to be like some sort of like thing like the horse's ass or anything.
No,
like
it'll be something classier than that.
Yeah, like
I mean, Washington's at this point already a fairly old city.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something from like Confederation days.
Well, the Confederation in Washington wasn't really a thing, but the
but I mean like the
War of Independence.
Yeah.
It should even just be the Independent. Like maybe
I like that.
I like that too.
It used to be a newspaper,
Yeah.
and then for whatever reason the newspaper went under, and now it's a bar.
And it made its reputation that after the war, it didn't matter what side you fought on.
Exactly.
You left that at the door. Right? So there's like Confederate flags and American flags.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
and there's Confederate stuff and there's Union stuff.
And the bartender's like a former Confederate soldier.
Bartender's native guy.
Oh, even better. Yeah. Like Cherokee or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or what were tribes that were around Washington?
Cherokee had a big thing.
I mean, they had a huge territory.
I mean, keep in mind that the big tribes at the time is that I think it's the Sioux who have
that's way north.
It's the right. The Sioux Nation is actually a big thing. They've carved out parts of Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, and the Dakotas.
Yeah.
Deadwood is actually right in the middle of the Sioux Nation.
Territory, yeah.
And Oklahoma, part of Oklahoma, is taken over by, and Texas is the Coyote Confederation, which is just all these different tribes that have come together.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we don't know.
Yeah,
He won't talk about what tribe.
Yeah, he won't talk about it because he left it at the door.
Yeah. Maybe in the same tradition, right? Like,
yeah, and maybe he is from out west. Who knows?
Who knows?
But this is kind of where people come that don't have anywhere else in the city and in this neighborhood. You don't have anywhere else to go. It's the bar without an allegiance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like this is also a good place for like backroom political deals.
Yeah, well, like Luke Cage, it's like Pops. It's Switzerland.
Yeah, it's Switzerland.
It's that the Independent doesn't take a stance in any of the politics or anything.
Or like John Wick's the Continental.
Yeah,
but less with that kind of like overt influence, right?
Yeah, just no trouble. That's the only rule.
Don't want no trouble in my bar.
Yeah. Everybody here is shifty. We get that.
Yeah. Also some of them are up down from the hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and you guys are at your booth in the back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got the gas light over top of you. You both got your drinks, and we're gonna pull into you right there.
You're still mad at me because I just threw shit at him, huh?
No, mad at you because you missed his mouth.
Oh, that's fair. And while I'm doing this, I'm sipping like my bourbon like pretty quick, right?
Yeah, and you're looking fairly healed up from your injuries, probably because maybe Mr. Strix did a bit of healing to you on camera for that episode, but we'll say off camera for that montage.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you guys are both hale and in good health again.
Yeah. Stone's going to kind of just like rub his perpetual 5 o'clock shadow a little bit, making a nice satisfying sort of scratching sound. I figure we can't go back to Director Lawrence until we get this settled.
Yeah. We gotta track this guy down.
And the 15 tons of ghost rock he's got.
Yeah. Well, that shouldn't be hard to figure out, right?
Well,
Like-
yeah, you'd think that, but he's eluded us so far.
Well, why would he even need to...
Eluded? I use that word right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, great.
You've been getting to your learning really good.
Wow. Suppose you're rubbing off on me, friend.
Yeah, well, you're rubbing off on me. Before Sarah died, I would never have taken a swing at him. I would have cut a deal. So,
Well, look at us, learning.
And at that point, the bartender, we'll say the only name he uses is Jack.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is you guys don't know what if that's his actual name. You guys don't know where he's from. You figure him to be a native, but you're not really sure.
Yeah.
Guys, I just had a boy come by to drop something off. Looks like you two are getting correspondence here now. Should probably put your names on the lease upstairs. And he puts a letter on the table. Just has your names written on it.
Thanks, Jack. I drop a couple. Would a shilling be appropriate for this?
No, you got dollars and cents.
$dollars and cents? Yeah.
It's just the cost on things is vastly different. It's like a Colt Peacemaker costs $3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it'd be like a 10-pence piece or something like that.
No, you give him a nickel.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
toss him a couple, a nickel or two, just like,
Yeah.
I should tip the boy.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so Wade wastes no time, takes the letter, out comes his knife.
You got like a boot knife or something like
Of
that.
course. Takes out his trusty boot knife. Hashtag trusty boot knife.
There is, in fact, a hashtag trusty boot knife because this seems to come up every episode.
Yeah. And he slices it open and knocks out the letter.
I'm, in fact, writing this down on my many notes.
I think what would be really fun about this is like have a dichotomy of I have an untrusty boot knife.
Yeah. you got like a fancy like opening knife that every time you like unfold it, it just like comes the fucking apart.
Well, no, it's like he gave you one in one episode,
Yeah.
and ever since it's been a running gag that whenever you try and pull it out, you're like hopping around, you can't get it off of the sheath on your ankle. It never goes well with your shoes.
Yeah.
For some reason, people always find it when you get searched, but they
Yeah.
never find his for some reason.
Yeah. So yeah, what pops out of the envelope?
Okay, it's on official Pinkerton stationery as Director Lawrence wants to see you. And it literally is just come to my office at, 2 o'clock. Do not be late.
I flip open my pocket watch. What time is it?
You got enough time to run there. You jump a horse, but horses don't like you so much.
Knowing that I'm going to be late, I go up and grab a bottle of bourbon from the bar and pay him for it, and then I wipe my way over to the Pinkerton Detective Agency.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't really know what building the Pinkertons were housed in originally, but we're going to say in this case, they've got a nice, front set piece office block that, or at least whatever passed for an office block at the time. It's like 4 or 5 stories.
Holy shit, yeah.
And as you walk in, you walk through just desks of, compared to you guys, clean-cut, eager young men who are busy, writing reports. Their secretaries seeing to people.
Working super hard at all this stuff that in a century from now will be replaced with a couple of typewriters.
Exactly. And a century after that will be replaced by 2 dudes with iPhones.
Yep.
We don't talk about what happens a century after that.
No, that gets into Deadlands: The Wasted West,
That's a different game.
which is Mad Max Deadlands.
Oh, I'm literally physically drooling.
I was really tempted to run that one. You can play nuclear-powered priests who are literally powered by atomic fallout.
Oh my god. Okay. But we digress.
We digress. We're in the Wild West right now.
We're in the Weird West.
We're in the Weird West. So you go into his office, and he's facing away from you as you knock. Come on in. He's facing away from you, looking out the window, looking very pensive. He is, of course, like the corner office on the top floor.
Yeah.
I somehow imagine the view is like you can see the National Mall.
Yeah. No, that exactly.
You can definitely tell this is Washington, D.C.
You can see the Capitol building in the distance.
Yeah, it's like that shot of like the Washington Monument and then the Capitol Hill.
Also, there's not a lot of tall buildings in Washington because it was built on a swamp. So if we're like in a four-story building in the 1870s, we can see.
There's a lot of forest still leading up to the mall, I think, at this time.
Oh, there be? I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, or there are at least parks.
Yeah.
So we take our traditional seats, like leaning back in our chair.
Yeah, before you guys even get to your
Yeah, I
chairs.
think we walk in, see them facing out the windows, look at each other, and then...
Gentlemen, what happened in Texas?
Sir, if I may be wiser to focus on what didn't happen.
He killed my wife. That's what happened.
Oh.
You told me that you would protect her when I signed up for this service. I have this like obligation to seek out the phenomenon. You gave me the opportunity to do that, but I protected her when I worked independently. So when I came here, you said that you'd help her, and he found her, and now she's dead.
I cannot help what someone does of their own free will, and she left the town that we had her under guard in.
I debate how free that will was.
Well, be that as it may. Be that as it may, you got another shot.
Where?
I got a telegraph this morning. Bliss has been seen in what did I pick? Virginia City, Nevada. You guys know Virginia City. It is home to one of the largest motherloads of ghost rock that they found by the Comstock Mining Company.
What the hell's he need more for?
So we got 15 tons of the shit.
Maybe he's after 15 more, but got credible agents who place him in Virginia City.
When we leave.
Got you tickets for a train over there tomorrow.
Good. What was he seen doing?
He was seen at the... look at my notes. Looking at my notes. He was seen at the Bucket of Blood Saloon. They're not sure what he was up to, but he was there.
Any sign of that fucking skinwalker? Flashback. A guy with purple eyes who's like been in several different bodies throughout the season.
Well, we wouldn't really know, would we?
Suppose not.
Gentlemen, I do not know what Harlan Bliss is. But what I do have here, he holds up a piece of paper and he just kind of flaps it. And all you see on it is the seal of the president. From the president, who Derek doesn't remember who it is at the time. It doesn't matter. The president.
Our Canadian flannel showing.
We apologize to Americans. We can name most of our interesting prime ministers.
Both of them.
I don't know. I mean, I think King was pretty interesting.
He's one of them.
He thought he could talk to the dead.
He didn't think he could talk to the dead. He thought that a long string of mediums could talk to the dead.
And the Ouija board.
And the Ouija board. Good point.
I'm not sure how he expected the dog to answer him, but yes, audience, we did in fact have a prime minister in Canada named William Lyon Mackenzie King who attempted to use a Ouija board to contact the spirit of his dead dog to get advice.
What's really sad is there's stuff in Canada named after this guy.
Well, he was one of our longest-running prime ministers of all time.
Did you find out who the president is?
I'm just looking
Will,
up right
so I
now.
could stop looking like an idiot?
Sorry, most of my stuff is fur trade stuff, so it's, back in the 1840s. We are in 76. It is Ulysses S.
Oh, President Grant!
God,
How do we not know?
Well, and it's President Grant, and currently no VP.
Will Grant have taken over after Lincoln was assassinated?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what-
it's President Grant right now, so... I got here a letter from President Grant.
not my president. I didn't vote for him.
Very funny.
stating that he sees Harlan Bliss as a major threat to national security, and he is tasking the Pinkerton Detective Agency with dealing with him at our discretion. And my discretion says that you boys deserve another shot.
I'll take it.
I'm going to take 6.
This time, don't miss. Cheryl has your tickets.
Thank you, sir.
And agent change, for what it's worth, I am sorry.
Not as sorry as he's going to be. And he gets up, walks over to Cheryl's desk. Cheryl, darling, how's it going?
Dear God. She gives you the tickets, and you know what? I think we're going to cut the episode with you guys on a train the next morning, headed out west.
Nice.
So for this, the first episode of Terrible Warriors Deadlands, I've been Derek the Bard from Chasing News. I've been your marshal for the evening. That's what they call GMs in this game. And my 2 Terrible Warriors.
Will Mitchell.
And Wes Gunn.
Until next time, y'all come back now. You hear?
The adventures of Change and Stone will continue next Thursday. And the Terrible Warriors has new episodes every Monday and Thursday. On Monday, we return to the next chapter in our Ghostbusters Now hiring campaign with Crazy Bob Kaplansky and his used furniture warehouse Ghostbusters. And if you want a sneak peek at some very special campaigns we're preparing for you, head right now to terriblewarriors.com and click on schedules. Yes, the news is that good. We'll also return to the realm of Ravenloft later this month in a campaign we're calling Dead by Dawn's Light. And November will include all new campaign settings from both of our Toronto and Edmonton crews. Again, if you want to find out, check out that schedules page. Tweet us at Dice Warriors and follow for all the updates on the show. And of course, you can now support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Terrible Warriors. Does the production quality of the show sound a little cleaner? The music a little bit fancier? The campaign's more thrilling? Well, that's because we're already seeing an improvement in this show that we can directly thank Patreon for. Your support is giving us the boost we need to launch this podcast into an entirely new fighting class, and I cannot wait to show you what comes next. If you're already a supporter, then you already know you can download campaign packs for Mutant City Blues and Matrix Extraction, which each include extra debrief episodes, scanned character sheets, notes, and the entire campaign available as a single downloadable file, all for your binge listening needs. And soon, you're going to start hearing NPCs in our games that are named after our Patreon supporters, and not to mention 2 dedicated fans who will soon be joining us as guest PCs. VIPC? Ooh, that's good. We should coin that. VIPC. All right. Today's Terrible Warriors have been Derek Burrow, Wes Gunn, and Will Mitchell. And until next time, thank you for listening, thank you for sharing, thank you for reviewing and supporting, and thank you for being a Terrible Warrior.